Yo, what's up? It's the Heavyist podcast. We're here to chat about some bloody lovely music. There's so much good heavy music going on around, and we've been like just busy having chats and interviews and things like that we've forgotten to observe all this phenomenal music. This week we've got some metalcore legends, we've got some Aussie prog death, we've got some Danish death doom, we've got some Belgian sludge, and we've got some black metal that isn't even black metal anymore. Let's get into it.
Yes, Gaerea, 5-piece black metal band. Can we still call them that? I don't know. They come from Portugal. This is their 6th studio album. It's called Loss. It was released on the 20th of March through Century Media, and it's their first album since they made Century Media their home. Gaerea are a band that we have heaped a lot of praise on in the past, especially when we've seen them live. Me and you together, or one of us individually, have always been full of nothing but positive words about their live performances, especially when you see them on a lineup full of bands wearing hoods and standing still at black metal festivals. Gaerea pop up and they're an absolute breath of fresh air with their charisma and their energy. And they've released 3 albums in a pretty short space of time, and every time that they've released an album they've made a really big leap in quality. And for my money, their approach to black metal has been one of the most exciting and always, dare I say, commercial-minded, and it was always guaranteed to ruffle the feathers of your average basement-dwelling black metal fan. But now we're here to Loss, and I think Gaerea may potentially have jumped the shark. How do you feel about this, Sonny?
Yeah, bro. So getting to finally hear the album in full, like when it landed in our inbox, like getting close to the release in full, it was like a bit like, oh god, because I'll be honest, right, the first single, like Submerged, is a bit of a banger. Like, I cannot deny a banger. I'm not here to deny bangers. I'm not. I think what they try on those things where they work in the chorus and they just absolutely smash it. Like, the vocal ability's there. It's actually a sick hook. There's intensity. There's melody. You know, everything's working really well. And like, I cannot deny just like the outright banger of that. But
for sure,
it's something that happens as I creep into this album. Every time I'm like convincing myself I like it. I'm convincing myself I like it. And then I get to track 6 and I'm over it, dude. And then
the train
track
just
6
comes completely off the tracks. Like, yeah. I know what you mean. Like, I think we both, when we received the album initially, were like, I think we could have accidentally gone off completely half-cocked, and we'd have come here and we'd have just gone, this album's absolutely terrible. This is so awful. What have they done? But I do think that the fact that we've had a bit of time and we've come to it a bit later, we've had a chance to sort of see the discourse settle in, hear what the homies have to say in the Discord itself, and that kind of thing is really, I think, has informed my opinion on this album a bit more. And
yeah.
There's 2 very distinct positions that people seem to be taking, right? This is an incredibly exciting gateway record for metalcore fans to start listening to stuff that's more akin to black metal. And then there's the opinion that this is an absolutely shit sellout and they should never have bothered doing it. And I feel like after a period of time, I have started to kind of find my home kind of somewhere in the middle of that, where I think that this is a really interesting approach to what they do, and I don't think I'll ever listen to it again.
Yeah, it's like, you know that thing of like, rules are made to be broken, boundaries are there to be pushed. Well, you have to understand where the resistance is to when it goes terrible. Like, you need to sort of, you need to do that, like, to just really understand what's not good. Like, so yeah, I'm still really, really mixed up and down on this record as a whole, and I see this is a potential record for metalcore people to get into harder stuff and black metal, but I'm like, oh, if it wasn't so crap for the last half of the album. If Stardust wasn't such an just a horrendous bucket of pop nonsense, then
Absolutely agree.
I would be easier sold on that opinion. Like I
think one of the
it's just
problems that they have is that they've been compared to Sleep Token for so long because they wear masks like Sleep Token that they've kind of just gone, fuck it, we might as well sound like them a bit as well because people think we do already.
Like the fact is, right, they have did you say album 6? Because I did not think this was album 6.
It is album 6. There's a few before we came to them on Limbo, which was like their third record. They already had 2 before that.
So, album 6, they've done their time in the trenches. They've played to small rooms of people. They've seen, what if we take a bit of like this more pop energy and infuse it? Is it gonna reward us financially? And as a band, are we going to be able to exist and play bigger slots on festivals? Yeah, fair enough. Like, I think the music that the people that this music is for, though, realistically isn't the people that they've been playing to their whole lives.
No,
like this isn't
exactly.
This isn't the people that enjoy the back half of this album and not the people that have been buying tickets to the festivals that they've been playing and the tours that they've been putting together, the packages. So it's really like a parting of them being a really cool, exciting, extreme band. Us saying like last record we were like, they're the future of black metal. They've got it all figured out. They're gonna but they're not. That's in the rear view for them. They're chasing. They're on a trajectory to be like a friggin' Falling in Reverse, Bring Me the Horizon, Asking Alexandria, Stadium Core nonsense band that just has one sort of a foot in the extremity, still. And I guess that's a good angle to have, really, if you're going to be but it doesn't knock the taste out of everyone's mouth.
No. I think that's the future of black metal. Apparently, is architects. That's what it sounds. Blackened architects. I have always had a comparison to Devil Sold His Soul with Gaerea, and I guess if you look at Devil Sold His Soul in their day, they were like a sort of post-metal, post-rock band for scene kids, and I guess Gaerea kind of taken a similar approach. And I can't knock it, even if it's not really doing a lot for me. I mean, some of the choruses are very catchy, aren't they? It's hard to argue with that bit. What's the song that goes, I burn like fire? It's very, very catchy. It works. There's a lot of power and a lot of individual style behind it. That individual style being mainly Sam Carter's, but that doesn't really matter. It's an interesting approach, and I've not got a problem with what they've done until they do just go into those really wet tracks, and I'm just like, nah, boys, boys and girls, not for me. Sorry. And you're right, they cut their teeth in the kind of incineration, damnation kind of world, and now they're probably more of a slam dunk / download band, and I guess that's the idea, isn't it? If you're in a band and the main purpose of being in a band is to try and get bigger than you used to be on the last record with the new record, and I guess that's exactly what they're doing, and for that reason you kind of got to respect the move. I'm just not really there with it anymore. This is just it's a bit of a shame.
I know you said that it is good, there is bits that are good, but there are bits that are really cringe and really cheesy. Some of the wordings are really just not cool. The thing where I think it's the track's The Nomad, and it's all a bit woe is me, I'm a cool dark individual, and it's dude, that's just not cool. I don't know if the choruses would have been about spurting blood from a cock, maybe I'd have bought the transition a little bit more. The raising the phoenix and all that, they're these really cliche crap, inarticulate and just not very interesting sort of notions. If it was all a little bit more esoteric and there was a bit more sort of flagrant language in there, and it was a bit more Just something you can get behind. Like, just chat about gushing blood, mate. I'd have been all over it. Like, I don't mind. Talk
Space
about an
or
open
something.
wound.
Yeah.
Wound. Like, but yeah, I get the ick with this album because like I get to track 6 and then it makes me hate all the other things about the album, like the things that I start noticing. I'm like, oh god, that's annoying. But
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, this album is not for me.
No. It's
Objectively, this is not an album created for me, and I can't say that it's not really, really bloody well performed, and I can't say that
Absolutely.
it doesn't sound like $1,000,000. So
Oh mate, it sounds incredible. And if you
it
compare it
sounds
to
so good.
if you compare it to the other stuff in the space that they're looking to try and get into, it's the best thing that there is in that space. Full stop. Like you can't argue that.
Yeah.
And it's working as well. If you ever look, like it's been out 2 weeks and there's multiple tracks with over 1 million streams. And if you look at Mirage came out in 2022 and it only has one song that's over 1 million streams. So people are noticing, people are interested, and people are listening. And at the end of the day, nobody ever went like, oh, up until now I've been really into like the top 40, but I might check out this band Dark Throne. People need gateway bands. Like those gateway bands need to exist, and you could do much worse than discover Gaerea and then go into their related artists on Spotify and come across Mole, come across Black Braid. And then before you know it, you're listening to Lamp of Murmur, and then the next thing you know, you're listening to that Mayhem album where the geezer's got his brain splattered on the wall behind him. You know what I mean? Like there is a process that will happen as a result of Gaerea making this album, which I think can only be a good thing, even if I don't like the album.
Yeah. But how long do those related artists stay those related artists? How long is it that those related artists aren't Bring Me the Horizon and Falling in Reverse and like shit like that, you know? Or like Bad Omens. Like how long is it? You might get a small window of people that are coming over.
For at least the next month. I think it updates monthly. But if you've come to this review of us talking about Gaerea because you liked it, go check out Death Heaven. Go check out Panopticon. Go check out Sundrowned, Alcest. There's so much awesome stuff in this kind of post-metal world that you could definitely get into if you like what you hear on this record.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Gaerea
this
no
is
longer...
parting ways. A parting of ways for a band that
Heavyists.
really enjoyed. You know, we'll see you later. Fantastic, go and smash it, you know. And if they don't love you, if you don't click, if you can't get on the Architects tour, you know, don't worry, you can come back. You'll have to do a really, really hard album, but you know, it'll be worth it.
And if anybody wants a 2XL Gaerea t-shirt, DM me.
Hit a brother up, you know.
Yeah, Lost by Gaerea. It is a loss to the Heavyist scene.
The change is breaking from the unknown, tracing the body.
Next up, legendary metalcore band Poison the Well. They have a new album out. It's called Peace in Place. It was released on the 20th of March through Sharp Tone Records. It's their first album since 2009. Poison the Well are absolute legends of the scene. I recently saw them do the 25 years of Opposite December tour, and it was absolutely awesome. Apart from the part where I realised that if I didn't get my car out of its parking space by 11, it would get locked in overnight. That could have ruined the show for me a little bit, but that's not Poison the Well's fault. And like you could really see, you know, you hear a lot of the bands that are around now. You go to that show, you see there's a lot of nostalgia for the Opposite December era of Poison the Well. It's really had a massive impact on like a lot of modern metalcore, and you could really understand if they were to just kind of lean right into that. And what they've actually done is completely not that at all. And I'm so glad that they did, because I think this album is absolutely phenomenal. This album is incredible. It's easily the best thing I've heard this year so far. I love it. And it's so cool to see. You got Poison the Well and Converge both absolutely on it in 2026, showing the youth
what year
how
is
it's
it?
done. Exactly, man. And they're about to go out on tour together, which is wicked. People of America, you're very, very lucky. And people of a certain age, you're going to be having a fucking great night. Yeah, it's so exciting to hear this record, having not heard, they've not done anything since 2009, and they have not missed a beat. It's bloody impressive. And I feel like it's a really wonderful skill to kind of grow old gracefully in heavy music. It's something that's not very easy to do. Like, it is quite a young man's game generally. The latest trends are usually driven by sort of teenagers and the older geezers of the scene. We either move to death metal or post metal, or we just go to the shows that we're for the metalcore scene and just feel really bloody old. And there's not a lot of bands out there. You know, maybe you might do a thrice, you might go rock, but there's not a lot of bands out there like Poison the Well who've managed to kind of just do a thing that feels appropriate for men of 40 plus years old that still rips as hard as everything else in their back catalogue. It's full of bangers. It's really catchy. It's got so much character. It's a phenomenal album. You kind of listen to it and you hear Jeff Moreira, and like, I looked it up, he's 45, right? He's a 45-year-old man. And he sounds 45, but that just makes the album feel so much better. Like, he could have probably got away with studio trickery to give his voice and the quality of his voice a bit more like power. He sounds a bit like he's strained, but that just makes the whole thing really work much better. And
I like that, man. There's, you know, that's why, like, if your dad shouted at you, you fucking know about it, right? Like,
right.
It's a bit different if your mate tells you off, isn't it? That's
right,
what you get.
It kind of makes you think of, like, you watch Stranger Things and you've got 30-year-olds playing 16-year-olds and it's just embarrassing. Like, act your own age. Act your own age and do what's appropriate. And we're in this generation where, like, new metal's basically classic rock now. And I feel like the scene that Poison the Well were part of, that kind of is going to be the next thing that's the next classic rock, like post-hardcore and the early metalcore stages. I mean, will Poison the Well ever headline Download? Probably not, but like maybe they could headline like a Bloodstock.
Poison the Well and AC/DC Robots.
But I just feel like this is an incredible example of a band knowing what they're doing and doing it appropriately, and it's so perfectly put together. And one of the things that you just get loads of when you're listening to it is that it feels like they're a band who got back together because they wanted to, not because they knew that there's a payday behind it, or, you know, it's like the thing to do, like the nostalgia and the reunion circuit. It's so like played out, and it really feels like Poison the Well were like, we've actually got some awesome tunes that we could put together and we could make it. There's no cynicism behind any of it. It just feels like they're like, you know what? I used to absolutely love being in a band with you boys. Let's get back together and let's write some tunes.
Get me out the ass.
Exactly. And they've written like incredible songs. Like the first 3 tracks rip. They've got so much energy. Wax Mask, Primal Bloom, and then Thoroughbreds, which was the first single we got. Amazing. But then they hit Everything Hurts. And there's this kind of shift where they kind of get a bit more mysterious. They throw a bit more like kind of not ambient, but like, you know, like that sort of what you would kind of consider that 156 Silence kind of thing, which is a weird thing to compare Poison the Well to 156 Silence, because obviously no Poison the Well, no 156 Silence, but it's that kind of like eeriness that is always in a lot of their music. They kind of throw it in and it works really, really well. And this whole album, I just think, is incredible. Like, it's in the pantheon of comeback records that often they're kind of a bit disappointing. This one, Otherness by Alexis on Fire, like, this is kind of the world that we're talking of. I think this album's absolutely fantastic, and it's got a secret track which is like amazing, absolutely amazing. And what's hilarious is the fact that like secret tracks worked in the CD era because you play it and then you're like, oh my god, it's still counting after the end of the record. What's going to happen? Whereas on streaming, you can see the song's 10 minutes and it finishes at 4. You're like, well, I guess there's something after that. But the fact that they've done it is just really cool, really satisfying, and just the secret track itself is really lovely as well. It's almost like a kind of acoustic ballad that they've snuck in there, because the record is generally one of the heavier things that they've done, but then the melody that they use, like, they swing for the fences. Every track has got a different style and a different vibe, and it feels like they're trying something new that they've not done before, and they nail basically all of it. I think this album is awesome. Yeah, this is probably my favourite record of the year so far. I absolutely bloody love it. Glad to have Poison the Well back in my life, doing really sick music. Poison the Well, Peace in Place. You should definitely listen to it.
Next up, I want to talk about Growth. Growth are a death metal band from Melbourne. Progressive, technical, dissonant, absolutely bloody everything. It's very hard to classify these guys. They're just crushing it. They just put out an album called Under the Under. It was released on March 27th by Wild Thing Records. Damn, dude. It's so funny that we just talked about Poison the Well and you're saying that this is your favourite album of the year so far. This is, without a doubt, my favourite thing that I've listened to this year. This is the album to beat for me. I am over the bloody moon with this thing. So this is their sophomore album. It's following 2020's The Smothering Arms of Mercy, and it's the second album in a trilogy, which is pretty goddamn cool. The themes are like ugly, broken, chaotic process of healing after survival. There's a lot going on. So I believe that a lot of this comes from the vocalist's work sort of inside of the social care, things like that. Like really seeing the underside of humanity. Which I completely can understand. I know just from my mum being a foster that like working inside of those things, you just hear about the worst things on the planet possible that you kind of forget that actually does happen outside of movies and TV. You know, just the worst shit ever. This album. Holy crap, dude. When this came in my inbox, like the first time I listened to it, it just absolutely blew me away. I messaged you and I was like, dude, this is wild. And you were like, yeah, I think this is like a worldie of an album. And I've just proven correct every single time I listen to it. Like I said, I think you sort of have to put them in a death metal camp, but it's very much, there's progressive elements, there's really technical elements, there's chaotic elements, there's like sort of a cool dissonant element to it, but then there's also like melody, there's brilliant sung parts of this record that like it's literally got absolutely everything you could ever want. Like this is like my favorite example of an album. Like it kind of sits in the middle of like two of my favorite albums, like probably of all time, like since we've been doing the podcast, but probably of all time. And it's Wake, Devouring Ruin.
Yeah. And
like, but the progressive sort of interesting elements and the technical ferocity of like Rivers of Nile, Where Owls Know My Name.
Yeah, this is exactly the same.
It's
both
bananas.
Too.
Bananas how much like when those albums came out, they were like my favorite album of the year on both of them. I love them to death. And this is so good, dude. I absolutely love it. I can't stress how much this album has just absolutely blown me away. I've been aware of these for a while. I've been following them on the Insta. And when we got sent it by Sammy from Since Always and Church Road and Employed to Serve, who I spoke to recently, it kind of like got shoved up my like priority list for listening. And god damn it, dude. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Like, however, like I've already said, it ticks just so many boxes. It's so just well conceived, so well executed. The songwriting's incredible.
Yeah, all of those things.
You know, this band, they've been around since about 2019, apparently. So, you know, they've been riffing for a few years, but I just was not expecting anything of this caliber from them. Like, what they've delivered here is just elite tier. I am over the goddamn moon with it. Yeah,
I think
it reminds me a lot.
Sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, I think the ratio of effort put in versus size of band on this is absolutely bloody criminal. Like, This record sounds like it cost $1 billion. Like, it's amazing. It might be I don't know if it was self-produced or they went somewhere, but you know for there's a degree of certainty that they're out of pocket on this record. And you can, and I just think that makes me love them even more. Like, you can tell these are the sort of dudes who just wanted to make the best thing that they could possibly make, even if it meant that they had to flog their organs on Silk Road to do it. And I just loved that. Like, I mean, no disrespect to the guy. They got like 1,500 likes on Instagram, which is just not on, is it? Like, if there was any justice in this world, a band like this would spread like wildfire. And like, I've seen it happening in our Discord, like people just popping up every day. Oh my God, that Growth record. Oh my God. Cause you posted it on the day it came out and everyone's like, oh my God, that Growth record. And it's picking up momentum, but it just really needs to pick up more because it's insane. They're about to go on tour. Well, I say about, like it's in August, but they're touring Australia with Rivers of Nile and Psychroptic, and that's probably the most perfect place for them to be because they're going to be under the noses of people who are just primed to love this band who might not necessarily have come across them yet. Although if they're in Australia, you'd like to think that the people in Australia would be in the know of how great a band like Growth are who come from their country. But yeah, it's just, this is one of the most incredible pieces of work you're going to hear this year. Whether you like it or not, it's going to impress you. Like it's magnificent, this album. Absolutely magnificent. Truly,
man. Like, it's just a phenomenal record. It has so many hallmarks of what I really enjoy in heavy music, and then it's got its own phenomenal additions like outside of that I wasn't really wouldn't even aware that I was looking for. Like, it's got such a brilliant amount of atmosphere and intensity. It's got that really sort of calculated tech death metal backbone. It's got like that scatty, brilliant sort of mathy adjacent sort of stuff going on. Yeah. And then it's got this like dollop of the dissonance in there, which is like just unreal. Like, they can go from like Pig Destroyer to Palm Reader to Ulcerate, like in like a few riffs. Yeah. And that's just a bit of me, mate. And like, I tell you what, another album that I keep thinking of, and I'm lamenting quite frequently at the moment because that their new band is putting something out, and it just makes me think, I really needed that. That track 3 opens up, and it just reminds me of like Black Peaks so much. Yeah. Like, it makes me really, really happy to have this record. I know that the direct influences there aren't that band. It's a load of other stuff. Like, you've got like your Catatonias and things like that. But for me, it just really opened that wound of Black Peaks not existing.
What's that? It's Carnival, isn't it? They're the Australian band who are very influential on Australian heavy music. They're not, I mean, I think they're quite big. Like, they've headlined Art Tangent before, but it's not a band I've ever really listened to much. But listening to something like this and hearing that sort of thing come in makes me think, oh, maybe I should check out a bit of Carnival. If that's what it's inspiring, then maybe it's bloody good. And I kind of hear a bit of like a sickthiness, like a sickty weirdness to a lot of what goes on this record as well, which is not easy to say. I'm talking about the band Sixth. If you don't know, if that sounds like the weirdest, what's got to do with the number 6? What are you on about? Like, Gary, it's some sort of weird number theory. I'm talking about the band Sixth, but there's like a kind of weird abstractness that Growth are not scared to throw into what they're doing, which I think makes this record like just notches it up. It takes it from like elite tier death metal to just like that next level up.
Yeah. And like you said, it sounds absolutely fantastic. Like it's just a flawless record, top to bottom.
Fantastic album.
If something else is going to be better than this year for me, it's going to be. I'm going to have a fantastic year.
Having a good one.
Get it down your neck if you like interesting, brilliant music. So I tell you what, this is one of those records. Just before I go, this is one of those records that I share with a guy that I work with, like that I know is interested in heavy music, but really can only get like properly behind like the absolute like dog's bollocks of stuff inside of that. Like, it's really not worth me like sending him an album of like stuff unless I know it's going to hit like an absolute, like, because he's really likes that the Absolute Elsewhere and things like that. And like, he's like, what else is there that's like this? And I was like, to be honest, mate, there's not much out there of that caliber. I think I might have just unfortunately there might not be too many albums that exist of that quality. So like, I sort of have to really like be like, no, this is worth your time, and this is up there. This is just something that I really hope this is something that you haven't heard and you go out and you listen to it and you totally agree that it's one of the best albums of the year. And if you do, that means you're the person, we're like-minded individuals. You could potentially do us a sub. I always forget to ask for those. If you could sub on the channel on the YouTube, that'd be sick. And we've got a Discord full of people just sharing music like this all the time, like every day. I'd probably go in there right now and somebody shared some black metal banger that I've never heard of. It's just absolutely sick.
Yeah, man, we should start like a trend that you might be a heaviest if you listen to a band like Growth and they make you want to cry.
Hell yes.
Next up, Crouch, not Peter. Crouch are a three-piece sludgecore band from Belgium, and if you're smart enough, you've already done the math and you realise that they are part of the Church of Ra scene from Ghent. They feature members of Vigadod, Oathbreaker, Rise and Fall, and Arm Ra. That's more bands than there is members in this band, so that's probably just one person, but still. Their album is called Breaking the Catatonic State. It was released on the 20th of March, and it absolutely rules. This is a complete and utter riff avalanche. Forget Louis Theroux Jester maxing the Manosphere. This album is riff maxing the Riffosphere. You have not heard an album with more riffs on it probably ever in your entire life. It's incredible that a band can make an album that's so wonderfully technical but also dumb, tight but also loose. Like the fact that they can pull off a sound like this is nothing short of outstanding. If you like bands like Yashira, Yautja, that kind of sludgecore, I'm hoping people understand what I mean when I say sludgecore. Every drummer in every sludgecore band is like a savant genius who just found some friends who like to smoke weed and grow beards, and that's what I'm into. It's kind of in that world of like Down I Go and Axis, who are kind of some of the biggest bands in this genre. It's the sort of thing that could appeal to a Mastodon fan as much as a Callous Dowboys fan. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's that measured balance between obtuse, mathy weirdness and just straight up bludgeoning groove. And this is a complete, like almost like a perfect specimen of that sound. Like there's quite a lot of bands who try doing it, but there does end up being a tendency to go what I refer to as riff blind, which is where there's so many riffs that they kind of stop having an impact on you. And this is not the case with this Crouch record. The composition of it, the riff craft, which is a copyright term, copyright TM, don't steal that. That's a heaviest copyright term. The riff craft of this record is incredibly, incredibly strong. It's got real direction. Songs don't get lost. They always know where they're going, and they always have really incredible momentum. And they're really good at creating moments that are memorable, hooks, like really catchy hooks, which is something you can lose when you're in a band who just bludgeon you to death with riffs. It can be hard to make certain moments in the songs that really stand out when it's kind of everything stands out, so then nothing stands out. But Crouch don't have that problem. This record is absolutely wicked,
mate. As soon as you see it written down, members of Vigadod, Arm Ra, Oathbreaker, etc., you just know that they're about to put people in the genre to shame. Like, they can't. There's nothing they can't do. Like, I think they should get on for curing cancer or something, because I'm sure they're gonna smash it out of the park. Like, get on it, because they'll probably do it. They'll have it done in 20 minutes.
Yeah, there's so many incredible tracks on this record. I wanted to shout out Godby. I would like to think it's named after Ed Godby, as in the singer of Beecher, who I believe actually lives in Belgium now, right? Do you remember when we played with his band? With Offender? Do you not remember? No. I blew up the bassist of the headline band's amp, and it cost me £100, but it was totally worth it because it was absolutely sick. Seeing they're called Castles. I don't know if you remember.
Mate.
Clearly not. They were absolutely
that's hilarious.
Yeah, and yeah, this record is it's absolutely awesome. If you like riffs, then obviously you're in the right place and you should be listening to Crouch, because they absolutely rule.
All Right now, let's pivot into some absolute bloody filth with Foetorem. Their new record, Incongruous Forms of Ever-Growing Rot, has just been released, Gary. Everlasting Spew, back at it, putting out elite death metal.
They can't miss.
They just don't miss, mate. They just do not miss. This album is an absolute masterclass in dynamic death metal. It is a really cool, brilliant, horrible death doom record. It doesn't settle into its singular glacial pace like most of the scene. This album sort of oscillates between sort of somber, majestic doom, and then it goes into those more bursting, predatory moments like what we've seen on the Fossilization record this year. It's just ticking so many bloody boxes. So Foetorem are relatively new to the scene. They're from Kolding in Denmark, and they only formed a couple of years ago in 2024. They've got members of Necrotic Ritual and Geisterkirche. Don't know if I said that right. This album, believe it or not, is their debut release, and I'm absolutely over the moon with it. Like I say, it's really dynamic for something that is considered death doom. It's got all that sort of majesty and somber brilliance that we love, like all that just horrible, disgusting brilliance. But then it also has these really cool pummeling moments, and it also has this like dollop of like a dissonant sound in there, like that kind of like sort of raises its head sort of to the back end of the album. And those are just things that I absolutely adore. Like I really, really fall in love with albums that sound like this, like that. Like the Fossilization record that came out this year, the Zompantli record from last year. Like I just absolutely love like big atmospheric death doom records that don't really sound like they're from this world. Like that sound like they're just sort of horror movies made for your ear rolls. They're just, this record could very much be just like a microphone that was held up to the outside of some cave in space where some sort of bubbling mass of ooze was spewing out noise, and like this is just what happened. This is what you could hear. I love it. This sort of otherworldly, non-human presence that really sort of defines the record's character. It's that perfect marriage of like horror and dissonance that creates this real sort of sound of unease and this sort of like gloopy texture. It just feels sweaty. Like you can hear, like, like it might have been recorded in a sauna, like that, or sauna, some sort of sauna steam room combo hybrid that I don't know, maybe exists in a David Lloyd. I'm not posh enough to get there, to go there, so I don't know.
I couldn't afford the membership for that. No.
Nah. It's got all the hallmarks of things that I really like about death metal track names. Like I said, the record,
are banging, aren't they?
it's just so good. The record's called Incongruous Forms of Ever-Growing Rot. You've got track names like Oozing with Pustulant Fluids. The opening track, a big favourite of mine, Gary, Reeks of Mouldy Guts.
Yeah.
The title track, I mean, the track titles, sorry, they really do articulate just how grotesque this music is. And yeah, it's a brilliant, banging record. Very, very cool, very, very interesting, very well performed, very well just put together in total. Like, a lot of death doom records can really just like sit in one place and not really like challenge you or like give you anything outside of what you thought you were going to get, and then can sort of become a bit of a wash. This really keeps you interested. It keeps you absolutely stoked. This is like one of those records that like at night when everybody goes to bed, I like put my headphones on and just like play some video games. Like This
listen
is
to
one
this
of them
horrible
records.
nonsense. Yeah, I obviously this is much more your area of expertise than mine, but like I've struggled to listen to anything like this year that isn't Worm, because I like that the element of extra that you get with Worm, which is like Meatloaf influence. And like, you listen to this, you're like, where's the Meatloaf? Where's the Prince? What's going on? But I engage with this album more visually, because when I looked up on Spotify, you see a picture of the band. Fuck me, they look like they've seen some things, don't they? Those boys,
They're so hard. They look well hard.
they got looks. They look. Their faces look fucking lived in, and I like that about them. They look terrifying, and their music's as terrifying as their faces. And I just loved the artwork. It looked like a geezer who had guests coming around and had to tidy these skulls away, but they wouldn't fit in the cupboard. You know, like when you see in a cartoon and it all keeps spilling back out of the cupboard. But yeah, this record is as heinous as the album title and the track names would suggest. And yeah, if you like a bit of death doom, I feel like this is probably one of the sickest options that there are out there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, such a rare alignment of like my personal taste and execution that likely won't be surpassed in a Death Doom record this year. I absolutely love this. Yeah, go out and check it out. It's a huge banger for me. Just tense. Like, these two combination of records is like the Foetorem and Growth. Oh, do you know what? I didn't even mention about Growth. The funny thing is, Growth came out on the same day of the year as Devour and Ruin 6 years ago.
Really? That's weird.
Yeah.
That's a weird coincidence.
Hilarious, isn't it? I should have mentioned that. Yeah. That is a great lineup of fantastic records. There is so much good stuff. That was our little March roundup, because we've been doing some interviews and stuff. If you're new to the channel, give us a little sub. That'll be lovely. Go and have a look at some other things. We're always chatting about music. I'll guarantee you haven't heard of all of them, mate.
We're here all the time introducing you to your new favourite bands. Hit the subscribe button and join the fun.
Peace.
Peace.